It's no secret that the past few decades in backpacking and hiking have been defined by weight reduction. Probably the single greatest thing that birthed the cottage industry. And that same quest for less weight has applied to our feet. The problem is what we've turned to for our feet is product that wasn't made for us. Everything else we're carrying was made for us, not our shoes. And this is not a knock on the brands. The brands that are making this product are doing a phenomenal job building the product for the people that they want to sell the product to. We're going to focus on a lot of things that we misunderstand about trail running shoes. The first is we want to look at trail running shoes right now on a spectrum. And the spectrum right now is being heavily, heavily focused on the ends. What are the two ends? The two ends are natural motion and performance. Natural motion, shoes that optimize a human foot, that allow that thing to do what it was designed, evolved, however you want to look at it, however that is made to work. Natural motion shoes optimize that. Performance shoes take that and bump it to the next level. They go beyond that thing's capabilities and squeak out every ounce of performance they can at the risk of making it work like it was supposed to work. Um, why this is a problem is because for the longest time, all trail running shoes lived in the middle of the spectrum. Don't get me wrong, there has always been a natural motion group out there. Ultra is the company that really put it on the map. We'll get into why they have been successful as they have. And the quest for performance has always been there. The problem is the technology now is taking those shoes on an end of the spectrum that does not hike well. In fact, some of them are borderline dangerous to hike in. And we're going to break these down. So, natural motion. This is my personal Ultra Lone Peak. This shoe is the epitome right now. It's the king of the hill in trail world. There's a couple of things that everyone needs to understand about this shoe. If you're an aspiring thru hiker or you're just getting into this and you've heard how great this shoe is, there's a couple of things you need to know. There are only 4 reasons people buy this shoe, and only one of them is the right reason. Number one reason is you bought it because of the toe box. The toe box is not the reason to buy this shoe. A lot of people buy this shoe and go, hey, my toes have never felt better. My feet have never hurt worse. The number 2 reason, what they say, lighter is better. This shoe is sub 300 grams. The Olympus is over 300 grams, well, until we have the 275. Let's chase the weight. The number 3 reason is I don't know what's great about it, but I know everybody loves it, and I'm hiking to Maine, and I'm going to wear the shoe that I know is popular. The number 4 reason is that you believe the human foot should not be in shoes, and you've discovered that nothing can outperform your own personal foot, and therefore this is the shoe that you go to. That is the right reason to buy this shoe. This shoe is the benchmark right now of natural motion shoes. It's just thin enough to allow proprioceptors to do their job. It's just thin enough to allow the foot to comply with the ground and all of the rocks and sticks and roots that our feet were made to comply with. That brings up another a huge point that I've got to touch on. We'll get in deep on this later, but the number of people that have put orthotics in this shoe, huge red flag. This shoe should never have orthotics in it. Superfeet, anything like that. There's thousands of people out there rocking Superfeet in this shoe. When you put Superfeet in this shoe, that's like saying I'm a vegetarian, but I love steak on my salad. You are completely defeating the purpose of this shoe to comply and flex with the ground. This shoe purposely came with no support in it. We take a Lone Peak and cut it in half. It's dead flat on bottom. There's no support, and that's on purpose. And we won't see that in other shoes. But this shoe, again, proves, just based on the number of people that have made it to Maine and continue to wear this shoe after they've developed their foot, and then say, other shoes hurt my feet loves the Lone Peak, absolutely backs up every argument we've ever made that the human foot doesn't belong in shoes. On the other end of the spectrum, shoes like this, we have a very close relationship with the North Face. This shoe is geared towards performance. And this kind of is a really good snapshot of what's going on in trail running world that can get hikers in trouble. This is the North Face Endurus 4, this 4th version of the shoe. When this shoe came out, it was groundbreaking. It was the very first trail running shoe that incorporated a propulsive plate, not a rock plate, a propulsive plate, a plate that it would store energy, and then it would release that energy into launching the foot forward and helping your own anatomy work more efficiently. And The first plate in this shoe came all the way back to the heel. In fact, it came up and it encapsulated the backside of the heel on both sides. And this shoe was a brilliant hiking and a running shoe, groundbreaking on both sides. In fact, its first year out, it was like, I think it was in our top 5 selling shoes to thru hikers. It had tremendous success on the trail. It was really hard to mess someone's foot up in this shoe. I think even the Trek said it was in their top 5 that same year. Well, North Face built a shoe to run in. They didn't build it to hike in. And one of the first things they discovered was that runners don't want anything in the heel. Why do we have a chassis back there when they don't spend a whole lot of time in the heel? Most runners at this level that are able to wear this shoe and squeak the performance out of it, they've already got a strong enough ankle and lower leg that they don't need stabilization on the heel. They want the propulsion out of that plate up front. So the first thing they did was they said, we're going to take the plate off the heel and we're going to move it further forward. We're going to terminate it back underneath the midfoot. Made the shoe remarkably lighter. It still served its purpose for the runners and not making the heel any wider in the back. This now became a really it was a questionable hiking shoe. For the guy and the girl with the pack on their back walking downhill, when they landed on their heel on this shoe, step after step after step going downhill, it was not nearly as stable as the first version of this shoe. And there were some people out there who went, hey man, they ruined the Endurus. And we're going, no, they didn't ruin the Endurus. In fact, it's a running shoe. They improved it. It's a much better running shoe than it was last year. Well, it doesn't hike as well now. Well, yeah, of course. They didn't build it to hike in. If you want to hike in it, go buy an Alta Mesa. This shoe, no plate in it, but incredibly more efficient. And this hikes beautifully. It's still got a lot of really, really good effective rocker. It's got a lot of foam that absorbs impact. This is the shoe, again, a trail runner. The idea behind this shoe was that somebody like me, I'm going to go do a 5-mile run in this shoe. This is the shoe that I'm going to wear for 25K. When my foot's going to be in this thing all day long and it's going to take a beating, way more protection here. This shoe is going to stretch my foot's durability out over a much longer period than this one will. So how do we break this down better? Let's talk about the bell curve and updates here. This is the Mountain Coast T1. This is my personal T1. And we had a customer come into our shop about a month ago. And he picked this up off the wall, started asking questions about it. And I never heard of the brand. We explained it to him. We fit his foot for it. And the first question he asked is, can I play golf in this shoe? I'm like, golf? Yeah, sure, I guess so. I mean, I know a little bit about golf shoes. It's really similar geometry. It's not as high stack as some of the other shoes out there right now in trail world. And the outsole on this is probably going to grip similar to your soft spikes do. Sure. So he bought the shoe and, with every intention to go play golf in it. And he comes back about 3 weeks later and says, hey man, that Mountain Coast shoe, I love it. It's my favorite golf shoe. I've been playing golf for 30 years and I've never golfed in anything better than this. And I go, that's awesome. We're glad to hear that. So imagine this guy is like the biggest golf influencer in the world. He goes home and he gets on all of his platforms and he starts blowing this thing up. Hey guys, you got to check this out. The new T1 is the best golf shoe in the world. And what do you know, 2 years later, Mountain Coast has sold 20,000 pairs of these to the outdoor industry, but they sold 100,000 to golfers. When it's time to update this shoe, who do you think they're going to go to? Are they going to make this shoe for the golfers or for the trail runners? I can tell you what's going to happen. Dave, any of the guys at Mountain Coast chime in if I'm wrong. They're going to update this shoe for trail runners. They're a trail running company. Well, actually, they're a running company. They make their road shoes for road running and trail shoes for trail running. In fact, Canyon Woodward, a close friend of ours, is a Mountain Coast athlete, and he's getting ready to run Western States next week in the H1. The H1 is currently an all-around phenomenal average Joe, average Jane gravel shoe. It's super safe. It's insanely comfortable. It checks all the boxes, but Canyon's also going to go hopefully podium in that shoe. But I can tell you one of the first things they're going to ask Canyon after the race is, how do we make this shoe faster? Because they have every intention of updating that shoe to make it faster and make it a better running shoe for guys like Canyon that are at the pointy end of the field. And my hope is that those updates don't compromise that shoe in hike world for average Joes and average Janes. But the truth is we're seeing that happen all over the industry right now. And we've already called out a couple shoes that are in that category, whether it be updates or new shoes. The new Hoka Speed Goat, purebred running shoe. It was an icon in hiking world. I would never hike in that shoe anymore. The new Topo Vista. Everybody knows Topo for making phenomenal hiking shoes. shoes like the Ultra Venture and the Traverse and the Terra Venture and the Pursuit. Tony Post, the guy behind Vibram Five Fingers, started Topo, and he brought his natural motion foot background and merged it with more realistic everyday shoes, and we have this perfect selection of shoes that have hiked really, really well, and they fit great, they function great. But now we have the Vista, and there's a lot of people that are looking at the Vista going, why do I not like that shoe as much? And I'll tell you, that shoe was made to run in. It's insanely soft. I can take a Vista with thumb and forefingers, and I can crush this shoe 10 millimeters on either lateral or medial side. I mean, this shoe is a marshmallow. Again, kind of like going back to the Endurance, this shoe wasn't meant to be on the heel. If you are on the heel, it's going to absorb a lot of cushion, but they're trusting the guy who's running in this shoe. He's got a really strong lower leg, and he's able to stabilize himself and isn't relying on the shoe. The shoe is just there to eat up all the shock. For those guys and girls, this thing's going to perform brilliantly. For hiking, we've seen it this year. This is an ankle roll waiting to happen. That right there is straight up full blown trail run. I would never hike in that shoe. And as mentioned, I think we mentioned in one of the other videos, it's 2026 and we have fewer shoes to work with this year than we had last year. We're still able to get the job done. There's still shoes out there, but this is a trend that is it's concerning, and it's also getting much, much harder to navigate when they're told, hey, go get trail runners, they're better. If you don't know what you're looking at, you can get a lot of trouble. So for those of you that are struggling here, we're going to help navigate all this. We're going to talk a lot about fit. We're going to talk about what things are important, what things do optimize a human foot, how a foot becomes optimized. That's the single most important thing. People ask us all the time, what's the best shoe to get you to Maine? There's not a shoe that gets you to Maine. That gets you to Maine. And the shoe determines how hard that thing's working or not and how well it works. So we're going to help you guys understand that a little bit better. But this whole thing is about breaking misconceptions. And again, definitely send in lots of questions, things you want to know more about. We want to touch every side of this that we can. So thanks for watching, and look forward to continuing this with you guys. Take care.